Okay, so today we are continuing with chapter 37. We did the first five psukim last week. And just to recap before we go on quickly, so in last week we established that this parak is Hashem talking via David HaMelech, and it's his response to our big question of why the wicked seem to always be to succeed, or more specifically, if we want to say, how should we react to the success of the wicked, and the five advices I think that Hashem or David HaMelech gave us in the beginning of the parak. The first, probably hardest one, don't be jealous. The next one is to remember that their successes are short-lived, like grass, if you remember that mashal. The third one is to trust in Hashem, restore our faith, and David HaMelech he gave us direction on how to restore our faith. He said, "Do good." Right? That if we want to restore faith, then we must do good things, and that's going to help us. Sorry, I'm busy trying to mute. Okay. Sorry. And then the promise from Hashem, the yitain mishalois libecha, that Hashem will give us that which our hearts desire. And finally, the last one we dealt with last week was the words Gol al Hashem, which is turned to Hashem, and we explained it as taking our troubles and actively giving them to Hashem, letting them be His troubles. So now we are ready to carry on with this parak to see how David HaMelech carries on. Some of the psukim will do more in depth, and some of them will just move quickly. Otherwise, we'll be stuck with parak Lamed Zayin for a very, very long time. So today we are ready with pasuk Vav. And begins, he'll bring out your light, your righteousness in the light, and your justice like the afternoon sun. So basically, David HaMelech is saying over here that eventually Hashem will let us and others see the light, if we allow to use that expression, seeing to see the light, that people will eventually realize this one is dishonest and this one is honest. This one is doing what they're supposed to, and this one is not. But slightly deeper, commentaries tell us that this is actually an instruction to us. Hoitzi, to take out, ka'ar tzidkecha, into the light, your righteous things. And the commentaries tell us two rules, two things. Rule number one is, if you want to do a self-test, if what you're about to do or what you are busy doing is right or wrong, is good or bad, ask yourself if you would do it in public or if you are hiding it away from other people. When we hide away what we are doing, we're embarrassed of what we're doing, then we have to ask ourselves why. And often because it's not good, it's not correct. And the second instruction that these words are giving us is, don't be embarrassed of your Yiddishkeit. Tzidkecha, your good things that you do, take them out in the light, do them. And I think it's a very strong lesson for us now. Actually, I was surprised. I was talking to my grade 9 class about a similar concept, and I said something about being embarrassed to daven in public, and they were all of the agreement that now it's dangerous to daven in public. This was so sad. Okay, very sad to me. We don't have to be embarrassed of who we are. We definitely don't have to go and stand at a pro-Palestinian parade with an Israeli flag. That's called looking for trouble. It's not called being proud of our mitzvahs. But doing what we're supposed to be doing, why shouldn't we be proud? And David HaMelech says clearly over here, we don't have to be shy to be who we are. I'm sure I've told you this many times before, but when we making Shmuli's bar mitzvah. So Shmuli was this tiny little thing, and I couldn't find him a suit anywhere. And eventually I went to the Oriental Plaza, and I was petrified to go into the Oriental Plaza. And I told Shmuli, wear a cap instead of a yarmulke, tuck your tzitzis in your pants. Of course, my husband couldn't come with me. And the first shop that we walked into, I thought we like looked so parav, and the guy said, "Oh, so when is your bar mitzvah?" So like you can't hide, we can't hide who we are, so we might as well be proud of who we are. I read an article which you could agree or disagree with, but it resonated very much with me. The question it was asking is why is Hashem letting um, them be so prolific and so strong and whatever? And this particular lady, she thinks it's because of the way they daven. And this did resonate with me. She said, you know, when Jews are in public and they have to daven, so she says, well, this also shows you her age. She says you go into a phone booth and you pretend you're talking on the phone so no one should see you mumbling in public. And when you have to say modim, you drop your pen so that you bend down and no one sees you bending. They don't think you lost your mind. And that's how we daven. She said she went to the airport and she needed to daven mincha. She went walking miles and miles out of her way until she found an empty gate, so that no one should see her mumble, or sitting and saying Tehilim, no one should see her mumbling. And then she was walking back, and there was a little bit of a commotion, and she wondered if there had been some kind of accident. And she had a look there, and you know what it was? There were 30 Muslims who had put out their prayer mats, and they were on their knees, and they were davening. And when they finished, they rolled up their prayer mats, and they carried on. They're not ashamed of who they are, and they're not ashamed of what they're doing. And please God, they should only be doing good and davening. And this is what this pasuk says. David HaMelech says, "V'hoitzi ka'aretz take out into the light your righteousness, your good deeds." Pasuk Zayin says, "Daim laHashem v'hischaleloi." So quietly trust in Hashem. Al tischar, don't become jealous. B'matzliach darkei, with those who seem so successful. Beish eisem zimos, with someone who is bad, who is wicked. So this word Daim La Hashem, which I think every one of us would find a different translation, and in English Tehilim. This particular one I'm using says, "Be still before Hashem." So the word Daim, where we most familiar with it, is the story of Aaron. Aaron has just become; he's been appointed to be the Kohen Gadol. They've just started the service of the temple, and his two sons die, for good or for bad or for whatever, but the two sons die. And the words in the Torah say, Vayidom Aaron. Aaron was quiet. So, what is so great about saying that about Aaron, that he was quiet, is that at this point, he could have had a lot to kvetch at the Eibishter. He could have turned around to say to Hashem, this isn't fair. Doesn't make sense, right? It's a day of celebration. It's a day that the Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan, is first being used. You've raised me to such a high place. You didn't tell my sons what they had to do. He could have had so much to kvetch about. He could have had so much to be really upset. And the Torah gives him the biggest compliment and says, "Vayidom Aaron." Aaron was just quiet. And the commentary say to us that this is what David HaMelech is saying over here: Dom la Hashem v'yischalel. Be quiet, okay? Trust in Hashem and have the belief, the understanding that we don't understand. We don't know what Hashem is doing. We don't know why Hashem does all the things that he does. We don't understand, and instead of just complaining or shouting out about it or whatever else we would justifiably do, Daim, says David HaMelech, be quiet. And the Yalkut Shimoni says Daim doesn't just mean be quiet, but it means have hope. And then comes along Rav Shamshon Raphael Hirsch, and he says that this is actually the biggest lesson of the whole parak of this parak of Tehilim, Daim La Hashem. When we are faced with things we don't understand, when we're faced with things that are incomprehensible, that don't make sense, just be quiet and believe that Hashem has some sort of plan, somewhere, somehow. And he says this, like, this is our job. Rashi translates daim as wait, and he explains that in immediate, immediately, we can't see, and for us, um, we we can't see for a long time. We don't call all the long years immediate. But Rashi says that a person should know Daim la Hashem, trust that there will be a time we will understand. Trust that that which challenges us will make sense sometime, some stage. And so Daim simply says Rashi means wait. Wait for this to make sense. And the Gemara goes one step further and says Daim actually means daven. The Gemara gets it from the words dimdume chama, which means the sun is dimming, and says the Gemara explains that when the sun dims, whenever the sun changes from light to dark, from dark to light, this is time for davening. So one of the reasons, says the Gemara, that the sun dims is to remind us it's mincha time. Like now it's dark. It's Ma'ariv time. It's time to daven. It's time to daven. And the Gemara says when it says over here Daim la Hashem, it means daven to Hashem, and tells the story of Mar Ukva, who was being harassed by a group of men, and he didn't know what to do. He had no idea how he was going to survive this harassment, and so he went to get advice. He went to Rav Elazar, Rav Elazar said to him, Daim la Hashem. So what? Daim la Hashem? I came to you for advice on how to face these people who are harassing me, and you tell me Daim la Hashem? And he says, yes, daven to Hashem. If you daven to Hashem, you have a promise that Hashem will topple your enemies. And this is exactly what happened. And so says the Gemara, anytime we faced with something that doesn't make sense to us, or something that's difficult for us or challenging for us, our response should be Daim la Hashem, daven to Hashem. And he carries on, David HaMelech, and he says, V'hischailel. What is v'hischailel? Don't be okay. V'hischailel, and be patient. V'al tischar, and don't be jealous or don't be concerned. In other words, say the commentaries, don't think that it's a good idea to copy the wicked. Don't think like if they're successful and they're doing all this bad stuff, let me just do the bad stuff with them, and I'll also be successful. Says David HaMelech, don't go that route. It's not going to work for you. I saw in the Medrash Tehilim a very good suggestion. The Medrash Tehilim says that we have to reframe that which we see as can't understand it, I don't like it, why are they being so successful? And it says, tell yourself, if those bad people are being so successful, imagine they're being rewarded so much despite the fact that they're doing bad. Can you only imagine what it is that Hashem has got in store? A real reward for me who's trying hard and trying to be good and trying to be honest. He then comes with a new teaching for us. He says, Heref me'af, go away from, get rid of anger, va'azav chema, and abandon rage, al tischar ach laharaya. Don't don't copy it, don't get involved in it, because it will only bring bad to you. So just see two different words for anger over here, af and chema. For one's own self, af is the outside anger when we shout. Chema is the inside anger when we rage. Okay, when we're boiling inside. Okay, and so says David HaMelech over here, neither of them are good for you. Anger is not good. So at the very first and simplest level, don't go away from anger and abandon rage. This is talking about our relationship with Hashem. Don't do things that make Hashem cross. Okay, simple. Isn't it very simple? So easy. Don't do anything that makes Hashem cross. And okay, we hear that. But what is a deeper level than that is we mustn't get angry. That's really hard. Okay, don't get angry. Because anger only brings bad with us. So here, um, the the Tehilim is telling us, give up anger. Anger has no place in Torah, and you can go to all different Sfarim and all different Mefarshim, and no one says that there's anything good about anger. Even when we get angry for the sake of Hashem, there's the negative element in it. And simply the commentaries tell us that anger has got no place in the Torah. Just to bring a few quotes about anger from various sources, it says one who gets angry, it's as though he's serving Avodah Zarah. How could it be? So idol worship. So at that moment that we're really angry, we are serving ourselves. That's number one. And the second thing is that we are in that moment of anger, we actually are denying that Hashem is running His world competently. We are um, we are saying, "I know better." So I'll give a silly example. You're in the supermarket and somebody keeps on banging you with their trolley, and the first few times you smile, and then afterwards you get angry, right? Normal. It's very normal. You're a human being. How many times are you going to get bashed by a trolley? And so you get really angry, you say something nasty, you tell the person to go get their trolley driver's license, you have whatever it is, and you're brooming mad because now you've got torn stockings and sore heels and whatever. That's normal, right? That you should get angry like that. And say the commentaries, what are you saying at that moment? Rifki Chaikin don't deserve to have anybody banging my ankles. Like, that's arrogance, pure arrogance. It's not nice that she's banging my ankles, but can I say I don't deserve to have sore ankles? I can't. I can't really say that. So obviously that's on a small level. But anytime we get angry, in essence, that's what we are saying. We're saying, I don't deserve that. I don't like the way Hashem is running His world right now. So anger is as though we're serving Avodah Zarah. Another place in Gemara it says that a person who is um, somebody who is full of anger is the same as a person who is full of arrogance, and therefore Hashem says there is no space in this world for him and for me. That's pretty hectic. Okay. I think that it's important to point out that anger is normal. And anger is normal, but it's not okay. And I often have this debate with the girls at school. If something bad happens, and I get angry because of something bad that happened, that's normal. And even if psychologists and psychiatrists and the world out there will all tell us it's normal to get angry. God has big shoulders. He can take your anger. He can handle your anger. They're only a little bit right, because yes, Hashem does have big shoulders, and yes, it is normal to get angry. That's a normal human response. But the ultimate response when we've worked on ourselves is not to be angry. And after each of Avram's 10 tests, one of the signs that he passed the tests is that the words in the pasuk say, "Vayakam Avram." Avram got up. So we actually just learnt it with one of my classes, the story of Sarah dying. So imagine this: Avram comes back from the hardest of his 10 tests. Right, he was asked to shecht his one only son, and he comes back and he finds that his wife died as a result of the test. Normal response, he should get really angry. And the Torah doesn't say Avram got really angry. It tells how he started negotiating for Maras Machpelah and how he bought it. And at the end of the story, it says, Vayakam Avraham. Avraham got up. And Rosh Hashanah Hirsch explains, he says, everybody is knocked when they challenged, whether it's a small challenge or a big challenge. Our emunah is always knocked. In that moment where we are challenged, we have that moment where we are, hey Hashem, what's going on? And the trick of passing the Nisayan is when we're able, Vayakam Avraham, to stand up again and have emunah just as we did before the Nisayan, before the challenge. Um, Another point that the commentaries tell us is to remember that almost everything we are sorry about is something that happened as a result of anger, particularly the things we say. When we are sorry about something that got out of our mouths, mostly it got out, it slipped out because we were angry when we said it, when we did it. Um, so this is an advice that David is giving us over here. Abandon anger. Get rid of your anger. Abandon your rage, because only bad will come out of it. Pasuk Tes says, "Ki mereim yikaresun l'keva Hashem hema yeshu aretz." That bad people will be cut down, and those who trust in Hashem, place their hope in Hashem, they are the ones who will inherit the land. This is one of our basic emunas, basic things that we have to believe in: reward and punishment. That eventually we will be rewarded for doing good, and the wicked will be punished for doing bad. The next pasuk yud, va'id ma'at, and still a little, va'ain rasha, they won't be wicked. And v'hispainanta al mukayma, you'll look into his place, va'inenu, and he won't be there. So this seems very simple pasuk. Don't worry, wicked people are not going to last forever. Ad ma'at, in a little while they're going to be punished, and it's all going to be good again. So for us, Ad ma'at seems to be taking a very long time, 5,000 years or something so far, and we get tired of it. But we have a promise, we have a guarantee that Ad ma'at, in a little while, that's what's going to happen. But a deeper lesson comes from Reb Nachman of Breslov, and he says, this is a lesson for each of us. When we look at the world and we're seeing these bad people, how can we see them as not just bad people? And how can we actually influence them not to be just bad people? And he says, this is the pasuk that teaches us how. Od ma'at va'ein rasha. Look at a person who you think is bad and challenge yourself to find one good thing about them, one positive thing. I remember I once said this to one of Shmuli's teachers. We went to a meeting, and we sat in a room there with a whole lot of teachers who told us everything Shmuli was doing wrong. He doesn't concentrate, doesn't behave, he makes a noise. And I said, it's funny, you're sitting with 5 people. Has no one got anything nice to say about my son? And all of a sudden, they all thought of something nice. Like they took each one of them started telling me, "Oh, so he's not so bad after all, right?" There are some few nice things about him. And says Reb Nachman of Breslov, um, this is what we have to do with other humans. We look at other people and we see them as bad, and there's no way we can see them as good. We just see all the bad stuff they're doing until od ma'at. Okay, look for one good thing, a tiny good thing about them, and od ma'at, another tiny good thing about them, and od ma'at, another good thing about them. And what will happen then? In Russia, there won't be a wicked person there anymore. We'll look and we'll say, hey, that person's not nearly as wicked as I thought they were. So that's in our relationship with others. What about in our relationship with ourselves? Okay. So we all have things about ourselves that we don't like. We all have things about us that we would like to fix up. So says Reb Nachman of Breslov, and take advice from this pasuk. Od ma'at ve'ein rasha. Don't try and do huge things and change yourself big and huge, because what will happen is that you might be able to keep that up for an hour or two, a day or two, or not at all. Um, but take ma'at, take small little things. I always refer to that as a bite-sized resolution. Okay, so it comes before Rosh Hashanah, and I watch in the girls' school, all the girls are busy doing teshuvah. That's the word of the moment. And what do they decide to do for teshuvah? They take on huge things. Like one girl told me she took on that she's going to daven mincha from now on for the rest of her life. The other one they all like to take on is that they're not going to speak lashon hara ever again, right? And they all take on these huge, big things. It's impossible. Sometimes they never even start because they're worrying that you know what, I'm going to start. I'm going to make my resolution from tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to start doing all this good stuff tomorrow. Another thing that happens is they take it on and it's just too big. They can't keep up with all of it. And so I always say to them, take take bite-sized resolutions, things that you can do. If you are going to be careful with lashon hara, be careful with it for 1 hour every day. Even that's hard. If you are going to decide that you're going to daven mincha from now on forever, then rather take it on for this week. If you decide that you're going to up your level of kashrus, choose one small thing in it that you're going to do just during the 10 days or just during the month of Elul. This is what the pasuk is telling us over here. V'ad ma'at. Just do little things, and finally you will see in Russia that wickedness, that bad thing that we're trying to get rid of, or is upgraded. It's not there. It's not there anymore. Um, V'anovim yirshu aretz, and humble people will inherit the land. V'yisangol reiv shalom, and they will delight in an abundance of peace. Um, so again comes this concept of humility, which we've discussed a lot of times before when we've been when we've learned Tehilim, that one of the biggest ways to get any kind of reward and get anywhere in Torah is anovim, to be humble. And second things is the hisangu arav shalom, and to have the ability to delight in the amount of peace that there is around us. And the commentaries explain to us what kind of peace are we asking for here. So obviously we want the peace between humans and in the world. And then, of course, more than even that, we want peace of mind. And then says Rosh Hashanah, he says, don't look at the word shalom only to be peace, but look at the root, which is shalem. Shalem is perfection, complete. That feeling that we have everything, and that's a big bracha for a person to feel al rav shalom, that he's got so much, everything. We have this in the Torah, that the Avos were blessed with cold, that they felt that they have everything. And this is what David HaMelech is promising us over here, that we will be able to delight on the fact that we have shalom, that we have all different kinds of peace. And all the commentaries point out for us that you can have all the brachas in the world. If you don't have peace, they are worthless. Peace is the keli. Peace is, I always say, it's the soup tureen for the soup. You can have all the vegetables, but if you haven't got a tureen or a pot or something to put them in, they're very worth very little. You can't really have soup. And this is the concept of peace. You can have everything, but if you don't have shalom, if you don't have peace, then you don't have anything. And so this is the bracha that we are asking for: Reiv Shalom, lots of peace. Um, I'm gonna do one more pasuk. Just so this is Zayim Rasha Latzadik. The evil one schemes against the righteous. V'cherek alav shinov, and he grinds or he gnashes his teeth. The wicked people don't like to see righteous people, even if that have nothing to do with them. None of us, and we're not even calling ourselves the wicked people, but none of us like to see people who we think are much more righteous than us. It bothers us a little, right? So we give them titles. They fanatics, right? They super from, oh, they hectic from. We like to use all those kind of words because it bothers us. Okay, it just bothers us a little bit. Why? They're not even asking us to do anything. They're not even demanding. We're not even friends with them. We don't even know them. But when we feel that someone is that much better or connected with Hashem than we are, we bothered by it a little. And what do? V'cherek alav shinov, we gnash our teeth at them. What does that mean? So from Rebbe Tzipora, she says, what does it mean to gnash our teeth at them? Teeth take big important things and make them small. And when it says we gnash our teeth at them, we take things which they deem important and big, and we smash them into something small. And that's how we justify ourselves, right? That which they're doing is ridiculous, right? And we explain why what they're doing is stupid, why it's bad, why it's not necessary, why we don't like it. It all is, we have to know that this is Cherek Alav Shinov. We are gnashing our teeth at something that is too big for us. We have to know that everybody has to do what they have to do. And we have to be careful not to gnash our teeth at the good things that other people are doing. And I guess this is where we are going up to today. So
Thank you, Ricky. That was wonderful.
yeah,
Have a good Shabbos, everyone.
and
Thank you,
Thank you very much,
Ricky.
Ricky.
good
Take
Shabbos.
care and have a
You.
wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, and you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Ricky. Bye. Bye, everyone.
thank
Bye bye.
you.
Bye bye.